Hey guys, it's the Gemmy Fan here on Gemmy Master Electronics, and what we're looking at here is actually one of the earliest models, one out of the two earliest models of the Floating Ghost series. This is known as the Floating Friendly Ghost. The Floating Friendly Ghost was sold at places like Eckerd's. This one in particular was sold at Eckerd's in 2002. And a lot of you knew this, but some of you may not, so I guess I might as well inform you. The only two that were actually sold this year, and were sold at the same similar department stores like Walmart, they were sold at Eckerd's, probably a few party stores as well, was the Floating Friendly Ghost and the Floating Skeleton Ghost. Those were the only two sold that year, and from then on I guess it just continued. 2002 to 2003, I don't really know what it is about 2003, but I think that the same ones came out that year, the same year, 2002 to 2003. In 2004 and on, you know the series from then on. But anyways, this is one out of the two I have. Actually, the only reason I got two was because they were extremely cheap. This in particular I bought from Tyler X71 for 20 bucks total. And this was maybe around last June or July, so I've had this thing for about a year now. And in the process of fixing it up, because this thing had split gears in all the poles unfortunately, but in the process of fixing this up, since this was actually the first Floating Ghost that I fully repaired, the connection, the little stupid connector piece for the speaker got smashed in, and it broke the board. Not the actual circuit board, but the little connector piece board. So I had to direct wire it, which means I had to cut the wires, splice them together through the pole. So technically the pole B, or it's either pole A or pole B, but one of those poles is permanently mounted. As in saying, you cannot take that pole off, or else you're going to snatch the wires with the motor and everything else in it, and it's going to be destroyed. But when I do get another connector piece, I'll be sure I'm going to wire it back up to the way it used to be. But right now it's directly wired. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the speaker is not as loud for some reason. When I first got it, the speaker was extremely loud, but then now that I fixed it up a little bit, maybe it's just because of the direct wiring job I did on it. I mean, I thought I did a pretty good job of direct wiring it, but the speaker, I'm thinking I just screw with it a little bit too much, and the speaker is almost blown out after a while. But it's still not that bad, because these things are annoying enough as it is. And the other one I have works perfectly, and it's like 10 times as loud as this one. This one's still pretty decently loud. Like, you can hear it. There's nothing really wrong with it. But the thing that was wrong with this one is that it needed all three 10-tooth gears, both arms and the head. And yeah, the rest is history. It works great nonetheless. There's really nothing wrong with it. So yeah, it was, I guess I'll show it to you. The mechanism on these are actually kind of loud. One of the arms are extremely loud, because I think I spent like 5 hours working on this one, because it was it was the first ghost that I've ever actually worked on. So yeah, it was a hell of a project. It goes by easier now because I've gotten so many since then. But this one overall is my second Floating Ghost. My first one was the Pirate that I've currently started on this collection. The first one was the Pirate. But he needs a new belt in the head, and I'll get to that later. But anyways, I'll show it to you again. And speaking of the other one that I own, I looked for it at least 10 times in all the boxes, well, not all the boxes, but most of the boxes, and I couldn't find it because it's been stored since last Halloween. And you guys pretty much remember what I mean, because you saw it in the Halloween decorations video, I think, from 2016. So it's somewhere in the storage area that I'm not going to dig through until I move out with this stuff. Like, not move out of my house, obviously, but move the stuff out to the new location. So, yeah. So when I find that, of course, I'll be sure to make like a double review and put this one in it or whatever. So, yeah, I guess we'll do an activation. I can't even talk tonight. Do an activation with the lights off. And another thing is that the 2002 models, the lights stay on until it's all the way up, rather than like the 04 and on, they shut off like right when it's about to go all the way up. They don't shut off, you know, until it finishes the phrase like this one does. And the lights are not very bright on this, and I think it has something to do with that little mod I did with the direct current thing, because it's a direct current instead of a plug-in, like a plug-and-play. But like I said, when I get another connector piece, I'll be sure to actually rewire it to where it used to be. But although I don't have one right now, maybe Jordan has a couple of extra connector pieces that I could use. I don't know. I'll ask him about it later. But for now, he's pretty much good to go. And let me cut that off. Another thing with this is that you can't shut it off like this. So you have to listen to that all the way through. Yeah, anyways. God. Okay, now that that's done and over with, now looking at the details of the face, this is the same, and if you guys didn't know this, I'm sure most of you do, but if you guys, for those of you that didn't know about this, this is actually the same face as the Giggle Buddies Ghost, and a lot of faces that they used for this type of feature. It's just an extremely hollowed out face. I don't know why it's like that. I really don't. I'd like to get an answer as to why it looks like that inside of there. Maybe something was spilt. I have no clue. But guys, if you ever get one of these, do not attempt to scratch this paint in the slightest, because the paint will come off right there. It's extremely hard to, I mean, it's extremely easy to take off by yourself. Like even if you were to get a fingernail on it, it would just come right off. So yeah, this is the purple cloth. I mean, this it has purple cloth like this, basically like Jordan's purple cloth witch. But yeah, that pretty much concludes this review of the 2002 Floating Friendly Ghost. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.